Let's go next to Joseph from Tucson. Joseph, you're on the air.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, I just had a question where, given the amount of just totally unprecedented events that we've seen over the past couple of years,
Yeah.
would it even be very accurate to use assessments from precedent when thinking about something like the midterms in 2022?
I think you're making a good point, which is we make all of these historical analyses. Typically, after, it's sort of like in baseball where they say, the Orioles in the seventh and eighth innings in day games played after September, they tend to hit 400 with runners in scoring position. And it's like, okay, does that historical analysis really tell us anything actionable or substantive about today? And things are so wacky and different right now. We have a question mark around like all those Trumpists that were activated by Trump. Do they care about the midterms? Are they going to vote? All of these different things. So I think it's fair to ask the question. I still do think that things are lining up very much as they have historically, which is Democrats took the White House in 2020. It's not looking good for Democrats in the House of Representatives in 2022. I think a lot of those historical things are plausible in terms of the next election cycle or two. But you're right that we always have to say, well, what's different this time? It might not all be the same.
All right, well, very interesting. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. Great to hear from you. There's Joseph from Tucson. Why don't we go next to Tobias from Germany? Tobias from Germany, you're on the air.
Thanks for having me.
My
Can you hear
pleasure.
me?
Yes, I can.
Great. I have two questions. The first one is mainly your opinion about freedom of speech, because when I look at the complete situation, I think that the media has big part of the situation that you are in now. The lies on Fox, the lies from Donald, it doesn't stop. We thought it might become better when Biden wins, and now Biden is president for a year, but nothing changed. They double down, and I don't see anything regarding healing of society. The society gets split more and more. And do you see any way out of it?
Well, unfortunately, if anybody thought Joe Biden being president would reduce the lies in media, I expected the lies to go up, and of course they have, and that's exactly the way I expected it to go. But we don't, here's the thing: we fundamentally don't have a system that encourages or favors healing in the way that you're talking about, because it requires, number one, putting partisanship aside. And I mean, I'm partisan in saying this, but to heal, we would need everybody to say, hey, you know what? That Trump experiment, that was a disaster. We can never do that again. We were globally humiliated under Trump. We just can't. But like that's my partisan view, and someone else would say, no, 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 David, you're just wrong about that. That's not what the healing is going to come from. So we can't even get agreement as to what would cause the healing to take place. So there's a couple different topics in there that you mentioned. They're all good, but unfortunately, everything is exactly as I expected. The media lies have escalated with Joe Biden. The partisanship is certainly not diminishing. And even uncontroversial things that Joe Biden wants to do, like an infrastructure plan, are now being seen by the right as these radical communist ideas, which of course they're not.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The problem is, I don't see any way out of it again. So the next elections might be the last.
Well, I mean, I don't. That's very dark. The next elections might be the last, but I share
Yeah.
your concern about growing authoritarianism for sure. I'm right there with you, Tobias.
Okay. And the other question, if I get time for it,
Sure.
it might be a bit polemic, but it's about the line between being bad in your job, being a bad president, not doing your duty, and treason. Or what I mean in specific is Donald loves to have people being upset. That helps him. And he saw a chance in using Corona to get people upset. So he politicizes Corona, which leads to many dead people. Instead of helping American people, he is killing them for his own good. And isn't there somewhere a line where it's going to treason?
Yeah, there
What
is
do
a
you
line.
think?
I don't know what the line is, but I think it's important to mention Trump's handling of coronavirus, even if he thought it would be good for him, it wasn't good.
Hmm?
Leaders that handled the pandemic well got reelected. Trump lost. And I believe that if Trump had handled the pandemic well, he would have won. So the one area I disagree with you is I think Trump may have calculated pretending there's no pandemic is going to help me. It backfired and it might be responsible for why he lost.
Yeah, good, but people are dead. It doesn't
I know.
help them.
I know it doesn't help the people that died. No, there's no question. But from the political argument you were making, Tobias, thank you.
Yes.
Great to hear from you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, there is Tobias from Germany. We're going to take a very quick break. If you're holding, don't hang up because we're going right back to the phones in a moment.